Hello, I'm Jody Wolf, and you're watching Expoz. It is August 13, 2018. It's 11:26 p.m. Birmingham, and topic is more of this implant is coming, guys. I mean, this right here. I watched a thing today. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. But the human genetic modification, and it shows them holding a pill is here. And of course, you all remember the CRISPR Cas9 that Tom Horn brought to us, what, 3 or 4 years ago now. I haven't heard much about that. I haven't heard anyone say, hey, I'm doing this DNA changing on myself. I'd like to, if there's idiots out there, I'd like to hear idiots talk. And not all idiots, just some. But they're doing so many things and trying to prove a point. It works. Like today, there's a company, a large company, and again, I didn't write it down because I didn't think it'd be part of a blog. But several people at this company had that little chip injected. But boy, I'm going to tell you what, it looked like the size of the needle was about as big as that black part of this pen. They had to have deadened it first and then injected that chip. And it was larger than a grain of rice, what I saw. But after said and done, these people could unlock the doors, any door that they had clearance to, get anywhere into the building, do anything they wanted, buy their lunch, process an ATM. When you go in, you know what I'm talking about, get cash out, and everything that they needed to do within that company and outside the company, anything that company operates, these people with that chip can activate it, or they can access it. And that's what they're doing, showing a big thing. Well, that's not a big deal. DirecTV's way ahead of them. You know that remote on DirecTV? I was sitting there, and I was saying, when I buy a cabinet to put my TV, I just bought a one of those curved screen TVs from Samsung, and the cabinet I have is too tall. So I purchased a cabinet that's lower, that gives me a eye level view at the center of the screen. It's a better picture that way. But anyway, I'm just wondering, well, I got to put all my things, the little box to and the DVD, all this is behind glass case. Well, I'm wondering, well, how well is the remote going to work through it? So I'm checking it out. I held my hand up and hit the button, and the TV changed, the volume went up, and so then I put my arm up and turned away from the TV and mashed it, and it responded to whatever I said to do. And then I pointed it up to my head and pointed toward the kitchen, and I hit something like on the volume, and damn, it scared the crap out of me. I saw CNN in my head, and it didn't come on. It just blew me away, and no more doing this stuff. Don't point a remote right here and try to change the volume, because you'll see things that'll scare you. I saw CNN. But anyway, the point is, if a remote's going to work, a chip, look at the chip inside the remote. The reason the remote is so big, you got all the buttons on it. They will have it eventually. Just put your hand up, it'll scan it, whatever you want. Then you touch the keypad that you're dealing with. Yes, I want $40 cash back after I pay for my groceries, after I buy my hamburgers, whatever I'm doing. So you got a huge remote, but the chip in that remote is tiny. So why wouldn't it work in people as well as it works in your hand? So the CRISPR-Cas9 has been functional for some time. I have seen, I'm not saying that someone didn't create this little being, but cross pictures on YouTube here with, well, things and people that looked horrible, and in the stage, either they weren't born yet or just born, because Europe's been doing this for a long time, long before Tom Horn ever mentioned CRISPR-Cas9. Europe has been doing these trials and these hidden things like they have on that island off of Long Island, New York, that they moved out to Kansas because these Montauk monsters kept escaping and washing up on the beaches in New York. And so they've been doing this. And there's in Birmingham, there's a place that I grew up as a child, not a child, I was a kid, because I was driving their cars back and forth on the weekends when I worked at a service station washing the cars. They were messing around. They had monkeys, and they had, of course, laboratory mice, and they had rabbits. They had all kinds of animals they experimented on, and they were doing this. Look, and when I was 16, that was 1965. Southern Research Institute, they were doing these things in 1965. And they're a tiny company. How much more do you think a large company would be doing these things and have been doing these things for a very long time? We don't know what's out there. We don't know. However, the Bible does include us, or clue us in on what's going to happen in the end days. And I'm going to say this in closing. Christians won't see that. We won't see these angels released out of River Euphrates. We won't see the stars fall, which are angels that have come down here because they're going to kill a lot of people. Try killing 3.5 billion people. See how long it takes and how many people it takes to do it. Just figure it. Take a very long time, but they'll do it in 7 years. So the things that's going to come down and hurt man and just destroy man, and even the Bible says men will seek death and death will flee from them. The horrors and the terrors of the things that come upon them will frighten men, will scare some to death. There will be a time period when people will die, but then there will be a time period when death will flee from them. I wouldn't want to die of fright. I'd rather be torn apart than die of fright. So, as a Christian, I don't believe that I will be in any part of the tribulation, because all of the tribulation presents judgments. There's 21 known, and there's the 7 thunders that no one knows about. Today, we just know that John was told not to utter what he had heard and saw in the 7 thunders. I think that's God's judgments that he's going to bring out upon maybe those that are here to hurt us. So we don't know all these things they've been creating behind the doors, the AIs, everything else. There's a lot of screw-ups down there, and they may all come out at one time, guys. We don't know. I just don't want to be around when they do, because something is going to come that's going to be horrible and terrible and the worst that anyone can imagine, than your imagination can think of, but 1,000 times worse. Just as the best you can imagine in heaven It'll be 1,000 times greater than the best you can imagine. It'll be the same way in hell. It'll be the same way in the 7-year tribulation. Thank God we won't be here in that whole 7 years. Jody Wolf Expoz.